If you're looking for a challenge or trying to level up your playing, then triple tonguing and extended techniques just might be for you. Hi, I'm a music teacher, and this is my life. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome for those of you who might be new here, and also welcome to my third video in the articulation series for flute. In my first couple of videos, my focus was on single tonguing, which is a great foundation for beginners and really the foundation for all of our articulation. In the second video, I talked about double tonguing, which is great for more intermediate players who may have some more complexity in their repertoire and some challenging tempos or faster rhythms to play. And in this video, we're talking about triple tonguing and a couple of extended techniques for the flute specifically. So if you're ready to take your music up a notch in terms of difficulty, then some of these techniques can be helpful. If you're a beginner, please go check out the single and double tonguing videos first. But otherwise, before we get started, you know what to do. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so that you never miss another video. So triple tonguing can really come in handy if you're playing more advanced music where the notes are grouped in threes instead of twos or fours. So when I was talking about double tonguing last week, I used a lot of examples of things like maybe 8th notes or 16th notes in time signatures like 2/4 or 4/4, which if you're a beginner are really common. But if you're playing music in, let's say, 6/8 or 12/8, I've played band repertoire in odd time signatures as well, like 7/8 or like 13/8, where there's a mixture of twos and threes when it comes to note groupings. The reality is that triple tonguing can come in really handy. So first, I'm going to explain the two different types that you can do, and then I'll go ahead and demonstrate those. So let's start by talking about the two most common ways that you're going to be able to do your triple tonguing. And full disclosure here, I don't think there's like a one's better than the other. Do what's going to work best for you. So the first one's very similar to double tonguing. With double tonguing last week, you'll probably remember that I was talking about using the T, which is a more forward articulation, and the K, which is a more gentle articulation. So taka, 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 ta. Well, if you have a grouping of, let's say, 6 different 16th notes, or let's say 6/8 notes, you're in 6/8 time, and those 6 notes are divided into 2 groups of 3. What some people will do is taka, ta, taka, ta. So on the paper, if you were to write it down, it would be T-K-T, T-K-T. Taka-ta, 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 ta. So I'm going to try and demonstrate that with the B flat. Let's take a look. I'm going to try it a little bit faster. So you can hear how the beginning of each group of 3 is relatively strong. It's taka-ta, 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 ta. And the more forward your articulation is, if you're using that T instead of a K, it's going to have a stronger start. If I was to take out all of the Ks and just do the Ts, here's how it would sound. That might come in handy if, let's say, you're in a marching band or, say, a wind ensemble. So even though you're practicing this triple tonguing technique, even in that situation when there might be rests in the music, it can still be very helpful. The other option that you can do is, instead of going TKT, TKT, what you can do is TKT, KTK. And for some folks, this is a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to demonstrate this again at that slower tempo first. So remember, it's taka-ta-ka-ta-ka, taka-ta-ka-ta-ka. Let's give it a try. Now, admittedly, I'm not as comfortable doing this one as the first one, but I'm going to attempt to play it at a faster tempo. Let's give it a try. Again, it's taka-ta-ka-ta-ka, taka-ta-ka-ta-ka. So taka-ta-ka-ta-ka-taka-ta-ka-ta-ka-ta, or taka-ta-taka-ta-taka-ta-taka-ta-taka-ta-ta. The harder thing with the taka-ta-taka-ta-ta is not getting tongue-tied over the taka-ta-taka-ta-ta, the 2 T's that are back to back. So similar to last week, my recommendation here is to start with a metronome And choose a tempo where maybe you're playing a scale or a certain piece of music. Choose a tempo where you can play it without making any mistakes, and then start really focusing on the articulation. And again, like I said last week, you want to make sure that your articulation lines up perfectly with the timing of your fingers moving and changing notes. Because if they don't line up, then you have the right notes happening at the wrong time, which are going to sound like wrong notes. Now that I've talked about triple tonguing, let's take a look at some extended techniques, flutter tonguing or growling. So I'll be honest, I don't actually hear that big of a difference between flutter tonguing or growling. So to me, I think that they're the same kind of idea, where sometimes in more advanced music, definitely if you're in university, you could likely see music like this, probably not so much if you're in high school. But in some of your music, you might see something where it says to flutter tongue. Flutter tonguing can be done in one of two ways. I'm really only going to be able to demonstrate it the second way because that's the way that I find a lot easier. But the first way that some people will choose to do is to do this in the front of their mouth. So while trying to maintain a flute embouchure, what I'm doing is I'm keeping my tongue pretty close to the bottom of my mouth, not too far forward. Now I'm able to demonstrate off of the flute, but when I try to put this in context, it never seems to work out quite right. So let me go ahead and give this a try. I'll be honest, like I said before, I don't love the way that my tone sounds with this. Typically, this kind of articulation is more for the effect than anything else. You're not likely to combine this in the middle of other, say, triple tonguing or double tonguing. The flutter tonguing is sometimes used in jazz music. I've played it in jazz music. I've also played it in concert band, but only maybe once or twice. But now I'm going to show you the way that I feel a lot stronger with, which is growling. So similar to double tonguing, where T's are more forward and K is further back, when you are growling, growling is further back, and when you're doing flutter tonguing, flutter's at the very front, then it's a little bit more forward. I personally prefer the growling because I find that I'm able to get a little bit of a better tone, because since my tongue isn't doing as much work in the very front of my mouth, it's not getting in the way of my air as much. So I'm able to get, like I said, a little bit more tone out of the sound. But let's go ahead and give this a try. So with growling, it's going to be a little bit tricky. You're not trying to give yourself a sore throat. What you're trying to do is you're leaving the throat out of it. You want to make a flute embouchure. And imagine that same sound of the letter K when you're doing your double tonguing. So ta, ka, ka. Let's just say 3 Ks. Ka, ka, ka. Is there a way to get the back of your tongue instead of the front of your tongue to vibrate and sort of rebound off of the top of your mouth? Now this one at first can be a little bit harder to accomplish, but I'm going to demonstrate how this sounds on the flute. I think that my sound is a lot better with that. Now I've heard from some people that flutter tonguing is flutter tonguing. If you're growling, it doesn't count. Honestly, no audience member has ever come up to me, regardless of their experience level on the flute, and said, you were growling instead of flutter tonguing. No one has said that. So trust me, the average person is not going to be able to tell which one you're doing. So similar to triple tonguing, where you want to choose the one that's going to be best for you, in this case, choose the one that's going to be best for you. So for me, that's growling. For you, it might be flutter tonguing, but ultimately, you're going to get the same effect. The other type of articulation that is definitely more advanced is if you're using different letters instead of T and K. And one composer that I think of immediately is composer Ian Clark, who has written quite a bit of solo flute repertoire as well as ensemble repertoire for flutes. So either flute ensembles, duets, and so forth. And there is one piece that we played in university where in a flute ensemble, it was mainly for the effect, so it was a very breathy tone, but it would actually say on the piece of music which letters they wanted us to mimic. So some of them were K's and T's, but some of them were CH, like chair, right? And it was very specific, like chi-cha-ka-choo, right? And what's kind of cool is if you just do it, I'm going to do it to like a low G. It's mostly air and it's not a lot of tone, but there are some composers that will put that in there if it's more for the effect as opposed to the actual sound. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. Happy practicing, whether it's triple tonguing or you're trying to try some of those extended techniques. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, give us a follow on Instagram, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell. And I will see you right back on this channel with a brand new video